Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
Report. Tonight we are recapping the week's nerdy news from the Batcave to the bridge of the Starship Enterprise and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
I don't know. A lot of casting news and
Yeah.
I don't know. Seems like a big week.
It was a bigger week than I expected until I started looking through stuff and I was like, oh yeah, we heard about that. Oh yeah, they did that. Oh yeah, they released these. But yeah, you're right. A lot of casting. A lot of casting news we'll be talking about tonight, and that goes for Marvel, it goes for DC, it goes for Star Wars. We got some comic reviews and things to talk about tonight, plus at least one shot, which is also casting related.
Yeah.
Starting things off by saying this podcast is sponsored by Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. It has been, by the way, let's address this right out of the gate as well, while mentioning Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. We didn't do a regular weekly show last week. What we did do is a big, extra-sized May the 4th episode with friend of the pod, Matt Paseda, ranking our favorite light side and dark side Force users. How special of an episode was that? How big of an episode was that? Well, folks, I think it was our longest episode ever, clocking in just under 2.5 hours.
Can confirm, longest episode ever. Long
Insane.
enough that on YouTube, I decided to split it into 3 separate videos. So
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. So I got to really lean over and turn my light on. I forgot to turn my light on. There we go. Now all those YouTubers can see my bright, pale complexion even better.
all those audio listeners can see your wonderfully
all those
reflective
listeners
skin.
Yeah, and they got to experience those like stretches and grunts that I just gave while I was reaching over to turn it on too.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of good stuff happening right now in this podcast. But anyway, you should check that out. You should listen to a 2.5-hour podcast where Steve and myself and our friend Matt talk about our favorite light side and dark side Force users. Our number ones on both of those lists. There's a top 5 list for each light side and dark side. Our number ones were different both times for all 3 of us. None of us had the same number 1. And I think there's maybe only once where 2 of us had the same number at all. I think you and I had the same. We had both had Asajj Ventress at number 4 of our dark side list, but other than that, everything was different for everybody.
Pretty well. Yeah, it was a pretty varied list. Like, I wish I'd have actually charted out, because I have all the data from all the people that responded. I did not keep a tally to like make a graphic for what our rankings were. I feel that would have been a very just a cool look at side by side comparison.
Yeah, for sure. So you can check that out. And so, yeah, because we did a monster episode on May the 4th last Saturday, we did not do an episode on Sunday. But also, this all started by me mentioning our sponsors, Funky Town Comics and Vinyl. Saturday was also Free Comic Book Day, which was an absolute madhouse down at Funky Town Comics and Vinyl.
It really was.
And both of us at separate times got to meet legendary Marvel artist Joe Jusko.
Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah,
one of the nicest men I've ever met. Just genuine, like,
wow.
I was just standing there and like I wasn't even in line or whatever. I just started talking to him and he was just more than willing to have a full conversation about what the Yankees were doing. Like, I had my Yankees hat, actually the same hat I'm wearing right now, on, and he was just like, rough game yesterday, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, we're talking for 15 minutes about the Yankees. And I'm just like,
oh, that was great.
Yeah, he just genuinely awesome dude.
Yeah. I talked to him real quick as he was signing. I have 3 of the 4 Marvel Masterpiece issues from the 90s, because Joe Jusko, if you ever collected the Marvel Masterpiece cards in the 90s, talking to you 90s kids out there, he's the one that did all the art for those. And they collected those in comic versions. I had 3 out of the 4. It always kills me that I always miss number 2. But I got him to sign all 3 of those. My son bought a cool Spider-Man. Did you see those like corner box things, posters he was selling?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, so cool. My son wanted the Spider-Man one, so I got him
Nice.
the Spider-Man one, and Joe signed it for him. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
I love a cool corner box. That's a really cool idea.
So
thing to sell.
Other random, you mentioned 90s kids. They re-released or ran another line of the Marvel Masterpieces in the mid 2010s or maybe early 2020s.
Yeah.
Joe was the artist on all of them too, or a bunch of them
wow,
too.
they brought him back.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. I ended up
Good for him.
getting a really cool. He did a couple of variant covers for when they redid ASM 1. There was like a renumbered issue 1, and it's a black suit variant that he did.
Cool.
If you haven't noticed, anybody who's been listening to the pod for a while, weirdly, I've never loved the stories that Spidey has been in the black suit for, but there's something about the visual of that suit that just calls to me. I don't know why.
You're a sucker for a black suit.
I really am.
Well, here's why. Here's not the tangent on the Spider-Man Spider-Man suit. Even before we get to our first story,
Right.
I think the black suit is a perfect design. It's a perfect Spider-Man costume.
Yeah.
I think Spider-Man has 2 perfect costumes: the original, blue and red, and the black and white. Those are absolute perfect Spider-Man designs.
100%.
And you could, there's other ones that are close. There's other ones that are great. There's 1,000 different versions of his costume or different Spider-Men or women costumes, and some of them are great. But like those 2 are just grand slam home runs as far as design.
Yeah, and
marrying a design to a character, I think.
It seems like there's a lot, like, you know what? I might throw Miles Red and Black in there too. Like,
sure. Oh yeah. I was sorry. I was just thinking Peter's suits, but yeah.
Well, because like all the variants, there's a level. Like Miguel's is okay.
Miguel's is
like it's.
I think Miguel's is excellent. I love Miguel's too.
I think it fits his character very well. I think my problem with Miguel, I think my problem with Miguel's still goes back to, like, I see a Spider-Man suit and I think Peter Parker or Miles at this point.
Yeah.
And I guess now that you say that, Miguel's does fit like what's going on and where it's placed and all that too. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a perfect suit because it's an incredibly 90s design.
Oh, 100%.
Incredibly. But the blue and red and the black are transcendent as far as decade or time or whatever. They just are all time.
Yeah. If you contacted an artist and said, make a Spider-Man suit drawn in 90s style that's supposed to be 100 years in the future, you absolutely would have gotten exactly what Miguel O'Hara's suit is.
Yeah. Yes.
And it works great.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Now that we've had Spider-Man talk.
Yeah. Should we dive into our first part of the rundown? No, Steve, because what else should we talk about? Not only did we both experience Free Comic Book Day and Star Wars Day last weekend, not only did we both take our kids to go see the anniversary re-release of The Phantom Menace the following day and experience
that was all this week.
We also, you and I, last minute got tickets to see.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman and Art Spiegelman speak in our hometown of Syracuse, New York. They gave like it wasn't a lecture. It wasn't a speech. It was like in conversation.
Yeah.
It was the 2 of them sitting in chairs. I posted a picture of it on our Instagram. Just 2 of them sitting and talking.
Yeah.
About their work and their careers and their books and
what they do.
All kinds of stuff.
Everything, literally everything under the sun. And it was utterly amazing.
It was excellent. It was excellent.
Yeah.
I was engaged the entire time. Towards the end, they started talking about their kind of their writing process and like how they view writing and their creation, how they come up with stuff, and that when they started doing that, I was like, oh my God, I wish I'd been doing this the entire time.
I will say this:
the ending.
You actively moved forward in my peripheral vision.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Mike's interested. Okay.
Yeah. I was interested the entire time.
No, but I mean, there was there was a point where you actively moved forward in my periphery. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right, sure. Yeah. That really perked me up.
Yep.
And then I was just like, oh, I wish they'd been doing this the entire time. But, the entire time we got, the origins of Art Spiegelman's Mouse and the
Right.
origins of Neil Gaiman's Sandman and all this kind of great stuff. And they were really funny. They were super smart, intelligent people, and it was an incredible chance. It was over like that. Like when he said we're about out of time, I was like, "What? What do you mean? Haven't we been here for 30 seconds?"
Right. I looked down at my clock. I'm like,
over an hour.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, anyone who is interested in Sandman at all and has never heard the origin story, I'm sure you could probably Google like him discussing it. But it was, and same thing with Spiegelman and Mouse, like two very dichotomous ways of coming about both of those iconic stories. And
they're both iconic stories, but like they couldn't be more different.
Oh no, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking from that creative process of like, one was a lifelong like working machinations of stuff, and the other was like, oh, I'll throw it together like this.
Someone's offering me a monthly book at DC. I gotta
go
and figure out an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like the way they pitched it and the way they told it as well, like definitely look it up. And if you ever have a chance to see either of them live, they're very, very engaging.
Yeah, and it's cool because it wasn't a tour or anything.
No.
They're not like doing this all the time. It was just
our local libraries.
Library system had a conference series or whatever and brought them out. It was great. I did also post in the Instagram post that I put up of the picture of them. There's also a short clip of Neil Gaiman describing his Sandman story. Also, quick shout out, Neil Gaiman. I think it was about a year ago. He was on Mark Maron's WTF podcast and talked a lot about Sandman, which was really great. So if you can dig that up, if you want more Neil Gaiman content. By the way, we also have a Patreon. If you want to subscribe to our Patreon, you can do that and get some cool bonus stuff. If you want to hear Steve and I rambling on about things before we record the podcast, or maybe even after we record the podcast, you can get that. You can get maybe some merchandise that has yet to be designed. You can also get film commentaries. If you want to listen to Steve and I talk about a movie that we like while you're watching it and while we're watching it. It's like we're watching it together, but you're alone or with your friends. Who knows? But, that's also available. So all that stuff, check out our Patreon, subscribe today, and, be a winner.
Yep. Links in the show notes. So.
All right. Let's jump into some casting news. Biggest one, I think, comes from the field of Marvel, the MCU. Just a lot of casting in the Fantastic Four realm this week. Biggest only because we know the character that this actor is assigned to. Not the biggest actor that was cast in Fantastic Four, but the biggest character. We now, folks, listeners to Multiverse Report, we have a Galactus. Fantastic Four has found its Galactus, according to THR, the Hollywood Reporter, Ralph Ineson. Been cast as Galactus in the upcoming Fantastic Four film. Ineson is a British actor who's appeared in The Witch, The Green Knight, Game of Thrones, Ready Player One, The Northman, The Creator, and the British version of The Office, and so much, much more. It was been rumored for a long time that Marvel was after Javier Bardem and was kind of holding out hope that they were going to be able to make that work. If that's true, clearly they were unable to make it work. And they've gone with Ralph Ineson. I saw people kind of complaining that he was like a no-name. One, he's not, because he's been in all those things that I just named, plus like way more things that you would also recognize, but I just couldn't list them all on this thing to save time. And also, even if he was a no-name, like, how many Chris Hemsworth movies had you seen before Thor came out?
Right.
Like, settle down. If he's the right actor for the role, he's the right actor for the role. So this is it. This is your Galactus, Ralph Ineson. Steve, what do you think?
I think I'm still amazed that we're getting a live action Galactus.
Yeah, me too.
Like that just still
it's gonna
is
be
not.
That's going to be played by a human being.
Yeah.
And not a CGI cloud.
Yeah. No, and Ineson, I mean, it seems everything I looked up after the fact, and his CV seems to fit fine. And if he's the right guy for the role, he's the right guy for the role.
Yeah.
I remember him in Chernobyl. which if anyone
That's right.
has not seen Chernobyl, go watch that, because holy hell, that is one of the best miniseries I've probably ever watched.
I always hear that about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have not seen it?
No, I have not.
Oh, my friend, you should do
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
And also The Green Knight, if you haven't seen that.
That is such a. He plays the title character. He is
the Green Knight. But
that is such a spectacular.
it
movie.
really is 100%.
Wild. I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I need to watch it again.
A friend of mine borrowed my Blu-ray of it, so I have to, because it's not streaming
you have it?
anywhere.
I know. Yeah.
So
Every time I think about that movie, I think, man, I gotta rewatch that movie.
Yeah.
I just like remember some new visual part of it that was outstanding. That I was like, oh god damn.
yeah, that was a work of art.
Yeah, a work of art. Exactly. Yeah. Insane that that's not just everybody's favorite movie. Like everybody should be talking about that movie every day of their lives. It's so crazy good.
Oh god, Dev
that
Patel,
might be
like,
that might be hyperbole.
it might be, but like,
Yeah.
Dev Patel absolutely kills it as Gawain.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it,
God, it's so good.
and the take on it, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is now an Arthurian Legend podcast, for the record.
Yeah.
We're
Scrapping the rest of the rundown.
right
Yeah.
straight into anything Arthur.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I think it's fine. I'm very curious what, we've heard Surfer, we've heard Galactus.
Yep.
Who knows what else and where else we're going with this? Like,
I know.
what run they're going to follow? It seems like there was I had kind of heard rumblings of some. Again, I'm not up on Fantastic Four comics in the last multiple decades.
Me neither.
So I had heard rumblings that it might be like there were some shadows towards like using Hickman's run, which I heard was good. But beyond that, I don't know.
We don't know, and we won't know for probably a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not coming out till it's only next year.
Only next year.
Yeah.
Somehow.
It's
when
still
they're
wild to
just
me. I guess they
casting.
haven't. Yeah, exactly. It's still wild to me that they're adding pretty big names to the cast and big characters to the cast, and they haven't even started filming yet, and it comes out next year. That seems crazy. But
For the record,
we'll see.
this is some how the sausage is made, inside baseball stuff here. I love how in the rundown for your next piece of this puzzle, you actually put movies next to one of the two names you're about to read. Like, you could have just left it at the name. Like, oh yeah, him.
I'm just trying to be consistent.
Fair enough.
With I'm giving credits for Ralph Ineson, so I feel like I have to give maybe not as many. I gave more for Ralph Ineson, so people might be like, oh yeah, no, I've never heard this. He's like a guy you don't know his name, but you've seen
he's
him
100% of that guy actor.
Yeah.
Like
this guy, the next guy, kind of is a that guy actor as well.
Yeah.
He's been in more stuff than I'm listing here, but for these next two, I dumbed it down to just 3 each.
Fair enough.
And one of these people, a guy named Paul Walter Hauser, who you may have seen in I, Tonya, Black Klansman, or he does a voice in a Netflix movie called Orion and the Dark. Steve, have you seen or heard of this movie?
No. Is this on my homework now?
It's a random movie that my son just picked out to watch like a month ago or so for like a movie night. It is great. It is great. It is written by Charlie Kaufman. Do you know who Charlie Kaufman is?
Name sounds familiar.
Charlie Kaufman is the guy that has written such films as the about to be mentioned Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He's like a weirdo writer, crazy guy writer. And he wrote this kids movie called Orion in the Dark. It's really, really great. I highly recommend it to anybody. Even if you don't have kids, you just want to watch like a fun, easy, really spectacular animation. And as you're watching it, you'll be like, this seems pretty straightforward. I don't understand why this was written by Charlie Kaufman. And eventually it'll happen and you'll get it. And it's great. So yeah, Paul Walter Hauser has joined the cast of Fantastic Four, as well as John Malkovich himself of the Being John Malkovich fame, also of Mice and Men and Con Air. And clearly tons of other things. tons of other things. I just had to bring up Con Air. I'm sure that's one of his works that he's most proud of.
Oh,
Con
100%.
Air.
Weirdly, it is number 3 on his credits list on Google.
Oh, wow. Well, it was a big blockbuster at the time.
I personally remember him for his wonderful accent in Rounders.
Sure, Rounders. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, John Malkovich, pretty big name. Once almost played the Vulture in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4. Did you know that?
I remember hearing that, yes.
He had been cast, and then that movie didn't go.
Or
he was in
I
talks
could see
or
that
whatever.
take on it.
That's a really good casting.
Yeah.
Very good casting, for sure. But no, I don't believe he's ever done a superhero film, to my knowledge. But now he's going to be in Fantastic Four. Sam, what am I saying?
I'm not your son.
Steve, you're not. I almost called you Sam. Yeah, Steve. Is it possible that John Malkovich is going to be playing Doctor Doom?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
First thing I thought of when I heard his name. First thing, because he's a name. He's a big name.
Yeah,
But also, do you
I was
cast a big
thinking-
name and just put him behind a mask?
right. I was thinking more somebody. Well, for one, if you go into four lore, Fantastic Four lore,
Fantastic folklore.
Folklore.
Fantastic
All right, we
folklore.
got there. Is the logo just a picture of a fork?
A fork.
I
Yeah,
thought-
yeah, yeah.
with a 4 behind it.
Holding a giant like textbook or something. Yeah.
So yeah, our first edition of Fantastic Folklore. Richards and Doom are effectively college roommates.
Right.
So Malkovich and Pascal are definitively
Yeah.
not of the age to be college roommates.
That is true.
So that would be
but they could be switching that.
Yeah, but they could, Malkovich, even if he is a bigger role, like whether it's not a cameo or, I mean, it might even be a like cameo to tease for something later.
Yeah.
But like maybe he's the wizard or something something along those lines, like
Right.
some alternate character, like still a name, but not, the name.
Right. Right.
Because at this point, Victor Von Doom is the name that hasn't been cast.
Yeah. And even as I said, what are they gonna just get like a big name like this and put him behind a mask? Probably cheaper for them. It's like Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian. Then they just have to pay John Malkovich to do a voice, and they don't have to show his face. They can show his face once per movie and pay him a fraction of the cost it would take.
I mean,
if he was in the entire movie.
Malkovich was in an entire movie about that.
Putting what?
The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot he was in that.
Mm-hmm. Now he was not the big name being put in the mask. However,
he was there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw somebody on Threads after these three were cast. I saw somebody on Threads saying like, Fantastic Four is shaping up to be the greatest casting ensemble ever assembled for a superhero film. I was like, I don't think that's true when movies like X2, X-Men United, and I don't know, Avengers Endgame are movies that had a pretty spectacular ensemble cast.
Like,
I don't know what you're
hell, look at just X-Men itself.
Yeah, any X-Men movie, really. Any X-Men movie.
Like, you had Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Just start there.
Right. Yeah. Or you have Michael Fassbender and Jennifer Lawrence or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, okay. Literally, like, even like Sophie Turner and James McAvoy, like, those are
at that point in time, they were actors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had Halle Berry playing Storm.
Yeah. Yeah. Oscar winner.
Who
Halle
like
Berry. And
in the coming out of the 90s
Jackman.
was like at the peak of Halle Berry.
Yes, exactly. So no shade on the Fantastic Four cast. I agree that it's shaping up to be a very great ensemble cast, but greatest of all time?
Now, if they'd have gotten Javier Bardem, which also, if you haven't seen Dune 2, holy hell. Okay, I watched it.
Did you?
I finally finished it last night.
Oh, nice.
Holy hell. Like,
I got to it was the last day that it was in theaters.
Oh yeah,
I
you
went
snuck it in
during the day to see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
it was great.
Definitely some changes from the books, but ones that a change, but a welcome
Make it
one.
an easier story to tell. I
Yeah,
think.
the Chani thing I don't know about, but whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, either way, very good movie. And that
Very good
Javier
movie.
Bardem made me just think of Stilgar
was great.
because Stilgar is Stilgar.
The way he played that character made me think that he should be in a comedy. And I don't think I've ever seen Javier Bardem in a comedy, but I feel like he could do it.
Now that you
He
say
could, like,
that, I don't.
Because he was kind of the funny guy in that movie. In
Yeah.
Dune 2. Like, there's not a whole lot of comedic relief in Dune.
No, but just about any
But if
levity
there is,
did
it's
come
him.
from him. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like push that a little more. He could be pretty funny in a movie. Anyway, speaking of movies.
Yeah, No Country for Old Men was definitely a comedy.
Oh, so he's so funny in that movie.
Skyfall,
Just so
definitely a
funny.
comedy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Laugh
no.
my ass off at that movie. Because I'm a psychopath. Speaking of psychopaths, Bob Iger gave an investor's call.
And
this
now the
week.
mouse is coming for us.
He talked. This is a thing that I guess we've said this a million times. Maybe I shouldn't have even put it on the rundown. But I don't know. He again reiterated they're slowing things down at Disney and they're not going to be pumping everything out, specifically relating to the MCU.
Mhm.
But I think he was kind of talking across the board, but he did specify that it was mostly, he said, particularly with Marvel. He said, we're slowly going to decrease volume and go to probably about 2 TV series a year instead of what had become 4, and reduce our film output from maybe 4 a year to 2, or a maximum of 3. And we're working hard on what that path is. So I feel like 2 TV series and 2 to 3 movies a year is still quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely less than it was for a little bit there.
100%.
So I'm fine with that.
And we're down off the COVID bump, but it's still that's still significantly higher production than what we saw pre-COVID and in phase 1 and 2.
Yeah. And after he said that, he said particularly with Marvel. So I understand if they're saying this just about Marvel, I understand that. If they're saying it about all Disney in general, I can't believe that. I feel like this has to be kind of targeted at Marvel because there's no way that Disney Plus is only going to put out 2 new series a year.
Yeah, no.
And like 2 to 3 movies. Like, that's not going to happen. They own too much IP to only do that. So they're not slowing down that much. I think he must have been talking most specifically about Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think is good, especially if that's like 1 live action show and 1 animated show or whatever. Like, they include the animation series in that, then I'm fine with that. I'm fine with slowing things down.
Well, I mean, we've seen that they've slowed down the animated Marvel stuff to a nothing.
A nothing. Yeah. Although we are supposed to get that Black Panther show this year.
We are, but they canceled or moved off or indefinitely suspended the Spider-Man freshman year, right?
Oh, did they really? I hadn't heard that.
I thought that got pushed as I furiously Google.
Furiously Googling. Well, I know they also, isn't there season 2 of What If is supposed to be out this year too, right? So that'd be 2 animated shows plus Agatha is supposed to come out this year. But that might be the only live action show that I can think of.
No, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man apparently will debut on November 2nd, 2024.
Wow, damn. Okay.
That's what it was. They didn't push it off. They renamed it.
Yes. Yeah. So possibly 3 animated Marvel shows this year, plus Agatha. I can't think of another live action series that's supposed to come out this year. Wonder Man?
I don't think that's supposed to come out yet.
That would be the closest one, though. That's the only one that's like, well, I think Ironheart's been done filming for over a year, but I don't think that's going to happen at all. So I think it'd be Wonder Man will be the next thing if they decide to move forward with that.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out if they're actually going to go forward with
anything.
Not Coven of Chaos. House of Harkness.
Agatha. I keep saying, I just say Agatha because
Agatha
they
now?
changed the subtitle 3 times. So I don't know what the subtitle is anymore.
It's
So I'm
apparently
just
just
gonna say Agatha.
Agatha.
Great. Cool. Keep changing it. It's a great marketing strategy.
It all-
Keep changing the name of your show.
So
No, I'm pretty sure that's coming out. That's definitely coming out. Coven of Chaos, House of Harkness. Oh, and something about the Darkhold Diaries.
Yeah.
I don't know if it still is any of those three.
It what the visual I'm seeing right now is just Agatha.
Interesting.
On March 11th, 2024, it was revealed that the series has been retitled from Agatha Darkhold Diaries to Agatha.
Well, that's a worse title. That's the worst one yet, Disney. Yeah. If you don't know who Agatha is, you're not going to watch a show called Agatha based on the name alone.
No. Purple
Well,
lettering? Yeah, no.
we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And I'm sure we'll talk about it on this show. I'm kind of like excited. I mean, no shade at Marvel, but I'm kind of excited to be going into like a summer where a summer movie season that isn't dominated by blockbuster action films. And I like blockbuster action films.
Yeah.
But I also like getting the chance to see non-blockbuster action films. And I feel like when, there's 6 comic book movies coming out between May and September, I'm going to see all of those. Now there's one comic book movie coming out this summer.
Yeah.
And it'll like free me up to go see other stuff that I probably wouldn't normally see. And I'll just get the opportunity to see new and different stuff. And I'm excited about that. So, and it gives those movies like a bump too. Like there's not going to be distracted by a new Spider-Man movie. So, Alien Romulus is going to get some more hype probably going to do better at the box office because there's less to compete against.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm excited about that.
Came to the Planet of the Apes right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Apparently quite good.
That's what I heard too. Have not seen it. I have to watch the 3 previous ones that I still haven't seen.
I forgot.
Which is insane.
I forgot Gladiator 2 was a movie.
That's right. Me too. I'm always forgetting about Gladiator 2.
Mufasa? Jesus, I'm looking at the movie slate here.
Prequel to the quote unquote live action Lion King film.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love Lion King. We don't need a Mufasa movie.
Well, the people that caused the first Lion King remake to be $1 billion grossing movie told studios that they needed to make a sequel to it. So
you know what we did?
If you don't want a sequel, don't go see the first one. That's the rule.
Fair enough. Do you know what we did need a sequel for, and I didn't know until it got announced?
What's that?
Twisters.
Yeah. See,
I don't.
To
Twister.
I'm not into a Twisters sequel, but I know the people that are.
We had no need for it. I had zero desire whatsoever. And then the trailer came out, and I'm like, yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It does look like it would be fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
Again, we're not talking cinema. We're talking summer movie.
Yeah, we're talking summer fun.
Right.
Yeah. I had a realization recently where I think I am sick of or over people, and I'm certainly guilty of this, so I'm not saying that I've never said this, but saying things like when talking about a movie, saying like, who asked for this? I don't need this, things like that. I'm kind of like, well, if you were live in 1977, were you saying I need a movie about Star Wars? About did you need the first Alien movie? Did you need Rogue One? Like, there's tons of movies that you don't think you need, but if someone has a good idea, it doesn't mean it's not going to be a good movie. So just because you didn't quote unquote ask for it, doesn't mean it's not going to be good.
Yeah, that does seem like a weird. Yeah,
it just hit me. I saw somebody complaining about Solo, a Star Wars story, on Threads, and saying like, we didn't need this, blah blah blah. But it's like, well, I feel like a lot of people say that about Solo. Nobody says that about Rogue One. Like, it all just comes down to whether or not you liked the movie that you want to make that complaint, first of all. So that's bullshit right away.
I was literally about to say we didn't need Rogue One in any way, shape, or form, and now it's my second favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what movie did you quote unquote need?
Yeah.
I'm guarantee you it's like a sequel or a third sequel to something. Like, I don't know. Like, there's tons of movies that you didn't quote unquote need. What does that even mean? So I don't know. I've realized that that's kind of a stupid argument to make. Anyway, speaking of things that I need, Peacemaker season 2, or want, I should say. I don't need it. I'll survive. They don't make Peacemaker season 2, but I do know that they're making it, and therefore I want it. And now I want it a little bit more than I thought I did, because it has been announced that Frank Grillo will be joining the cast of Peacemaker Season 2. Who's Frank Grillo? You might remember him if you're an MCU person. He played Crossbones in 2 Captain America films, or that character in Winter Soldier, and showed up as Crossbones in Civil War, and was unceremoniously killed off in the first 10 minutes of that movie. Seemingly, for me, crazy decision. But you may remember that we have mentioned Frank Grillo before on this podcast because he is voicing the character of Rick Flag Sr. in the upcoming animated Creature Commandos series from James Gunn. Creature Commandos being the first entry in the James Gunn DCU, an appetizer, he's called it before. Rick Flag Sr. Now, Rick Flag Sr., seemingly the father to Rick Flag that we know from both Suicide Squad movies, one terrible, one incredible. The
2
Suicide
different
Squad.
actors.
No, same. Joel Kinnaman played Rick Flag in both
yeah.
versions of Suicide Squad. Yep. I would say he's way better in the James Gunn one.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
So we know that character exists and apparently was a junior. We didn't know he was a junior until they announced that Frank Grillo was playing senior. But anyway, Rick Flag Sr. going to be here in Creature Commandos, and now Frank Grillo will be playing that same character in live action in Peacemaker Season 2. Now, this holds true to what James Gunn had said about when he was announcing the cast for Creature Commandos or any of the animated things that they're planning, that they're casting the voice actors for the animated series with the knowledge and the hope that they will play the character in live action as well if that happens. Now, this is the first instance of this happening. It's happening before we've gotten anything, which I think is very cool. So, so he's going to be playing Rick Flag Sr. in Peacemaker Season 2. James Gunn posted on social media this week saying, quote, "Pleased to announce that the great Frank Grillo will be reprising the role of Rick Flag Sr., the role he'll first play in animated form in Creature Commandos throughout Season 2 of Peacemaker. Christopher Smith and Rick Sr. have a little unfinished business to take care of." Now, spoiler alert for The Suicide Squad and a little bit for the early episodes of Peacemaker Season 1. Sorry. Christopher Smith, Peacemaker, kills Rick Flag Jr. in The Suicide Squad, and that haunts him throughout Season 1 of his own show, Peacemaker. Little unfinished business James Gunn is talking about is the fact that Frank Grillo's character, Rick Flag Sr., will probably be pretty mad at the guy that murdered his son. Now,
Likely, yes.
Go ahead.
I was just saying likely. That is true.
Very likely. Very likely. The one monkey wrench in this thing is the fact that Peacemaker Season 2 is taking place in the new DCU continuity, where Peacemaker Season 1 took place in the old DCEU continuity. James Gunn has said that Peacemaker Season 2 will address that change in continuity from DCEU to DCU. I don't know how he's going to address that, but clearly, as some characters are crossing over, John Cena as Peacemaker being one, there will be some continuity between those two universes. Who knows how they're going to explain that or what? But I think Peacemaker is a place to do it, because it's a weird-ass show. And clearly one of those plot points that crossing over will be the fact that Christopher Smith killed Rick Flag Jr.
Right. I feel like this is the DC version of them doing the Fox or Deadpool kills the Fox universe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think.
Well, just that they take their wacky, off the wall show or off the wall movie and use that as the impetus to, explain away hand wavy stuff.
Yeah. I think it's smart for James Gunn to do it in a show like this that can take it, because this show is also not only great, but also very funny and very strange and silly and weird. So they can, however he's going to explain that, like how it, like, I guess my question is like how Peacemaker being John Cena in both universes, what does he remember about the previous universe? What has changed? How did it affect someone that is not changing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So however they're going to explain that, I'm interested to see how they do it. But I think it's smart to put it in this show, Peacemaker, and kind of get it out of the way, because I doubt once it's out in Peacemaker season 2, I doubt they'll ever mention it again in anything else or reference it. Because they don't want to bog down something like Superman. They're not going to bog that down with some kind of weird
reference,
timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly explanation.
Personally, I think middle of Superman, you're just going to have, oh God, what's his name?
Jimmy Olsen, Perry White.
No.
Lex Luthor.
Former Superman. That was the Witcher.
Henry Cavill.
There you go. Henry Cavill. I was like, Warhammer Witcher, what's his name? Just have Cavill just land and talk to Corn Sweat and, right in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. I think that'll be smart. Yeah.
I'm sure James Gunn would be 100% behind that.
This planet's in your hands now, David Cornsweat. They addressed each other by actor name, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not confusing.
Right. Thank you. I will
think
take
that's
the
really
mantle
cool.
from the DCEU to the DCU.
Yeah. I think Frank Grillo is a good actor. I think that he has the name of a comic book character. I think the name Frank Grillo sounds like a fake name that should be in like a Martin Scorsese movie.
Oh, if Crossbone's name wasn't
Crossbone's
name wasn't Brock Rumlow, it could very well be Frank Grillo.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Frank Grillo just sounds like the perfect like gangster name or whatever. Like it just sounds like a great comic book name.
Yeah.
I love it. So bring him on. I think he's a great actor. And I think he's I don't know how different Rick Flag Sr. is going to be from the Rick Flag that I know from these two movies and from comics that I've read. But if they're similar, then I think he's a good choice to play this character in general. So excited to see that for sure. What else am I very excited to see in the DC universe? Something that we've been talking about for a very long time. I can't say it's straight up DCU, so it's probably going to be part of their Elseworlds thing because it is animation. And this is a show that was announced years ago, talking about it in the early days of this podcast, still talking about it today. Batman Caped Crusader. From producers Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, and Matt Reeves. Originally was going to be an HBO Max exclusive, and now has been sold to Amazon Prime from David Zaslav because he's an idiot. A lot of star power behind this. Oh, and also Ed Brubaker, comic writer aficionado. Ed Brubaker is going to be the head writer on this show. This is finally coming out. We got a release date and a first look at Batman Caped Crusader. We got images of Batman, also Bruce Wayne, Catwoman, and Selena Kyle, and then some other weird ones that one of them could be Harley, although it looks very different from any incarnation of that costume that we've ever seen. Possibly a Commissioner Gordon, and there was a weird like skeleton cowboy guy with a bandana over his head. Like, is this Jonah Hex? I don't really know who this is, but the animation style looks cool. The design, and I think we knew from the teaser poster we got 3 years ago when I started talking about this, the design of Batman is the original design of Batman from 1939, with the ears that kind of are too thick and kind of go out to the side. He's wearing purple gloves. This is the original The Batman, and it's the original Catwoman. The purple dress with the green cape and a way that she hasn't been portrayed really since.
It's a Catwoman that looks more like Batgirl.
But it was her original incarnation. And Bruce Timm saying like we wanted to just have designs that no one has used before. That we didn't want to do like the leather Catwoman that she has currently in the comics and she has had for a while, or the purple stuff from the 90s. Like we wanted to figure out. So let's all go all the way back to the original, and which is suiting for this show because this show is a period piece that will be set in the 1940s. That's something that I didn't know, but I think is really cool. It's a way to get rid of technology and cell phones and things that make solving crimes too easy and not dramatic enough, really, to show.
And if Bruce Timm says it, it's gospel.
Yeah, for sure. So it's going to debut August 1st on
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. Not too far away. I'm very excited about this show. Being billed as a spiritual sequel to Batman the Animated Series, and of course with Bruce Timm on board. He's the expert in that. I'm not sure why J.J. Abrams is involved, but he's a creative guy, so good. But also Matt Reeves, who did the Batman, like hell yeah. Like there's some there's 4 big names attached to this show. You got Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, Ed Brubaker. I've never heard J.J. Abrams talk about. Sorry,
I was going to say, if those 4 can't come up with something good,
exactly.
then I have lost faith in the creative works around.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've never heard specifically J.J. Abrams talk about his love of Batman, but those other 3 are like, yeah, they're experts on the guy.
Yeah, 2 of them have written 2 of the best like Batman that I've ever looked at, and Brubaker is Ed Brubaker.
Yeah, and who's written an incredible Catwoman run at least. I know he's definitely written Batman too, but
definitely had a good Cap run.
Very pumped.
Like
no slouch. So this show should be good.
Yeah, it should be good. And coming off of I don't want to say the hype, but coming off of what X-Men 97 has done.
Jesus, man.
Holy hell. Like we can talk about X-Men 97 later if you want, because I think it needs to. We haven't actually addressed it really on the pod in like weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to tangent for too long. But
no, I'm talking like end of the pod type if we have time. But
yeah, we can do a quick spoilery thing at the end of the pod. But I will say right now, if you're out there and you were alive in the 90s and you happen to read any X-Men comic book.
Or even if you haven't read an X-Men comic book, if in any way, shape, or form, like if that awakens something in you, just hearing that, then go watch this, because holy hell.
If you just like the X-Men, or the concept, and you're not watching this show, start watching this show. It is so good. It's so good, and I know I say this every time we talk about it, but I was not excited for this show.
No,
I thought I was.
You were very lukewarm on this.
I thought I'd watch one episode just so I could talk to Steve about it on an episode of this podcast, and then never watch anything else. It is so good. It is the greatest thing I've seen Marvel do in years.
Yeah,
and I mean across
100%.
the board, from comics to movies to TV. It is my favorite Marvel thing in years. I was on the absolute edge of my seat in the last episode. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Anyway.
And I was amazingly excited about it. And this is above and beyond any expectations I had.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk some spoilers real quick at the end of the pod. But one more quick piece of casting news. This could have probably been a one shot, but I'm excited about it. And I'm wondering to see how Steve thinks about this. This is reported by Scooper Jeff Snyder that moving from DC into the Star Wars universe, a little bit of casting information for Mandalorian and Grogu, the unfortunately titled film that I hope changes. So we'll see. We'll see about that. 3-time Oscar nominee Sigourney Weaver is in talks to join Mandalorian and Grogu film. No word on who she'll play, of course. Deal's not even finalized, and odds are she's playing somebody we don't know. But any information on any character could help us kind of inform the plot, know what's going on in this movie. Sigourney Weaver, sci-fi queen.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, what do you think of her joining the Star Wars universe?
Well, first off, I think since ETs are in the Galactic Senate, I'm pretty sure xenomorphs are somewhere out in the galaxy, and maybe she is just playing Ellen Ripley.
I would love that. I would love that.
I don't
like thinking of Star Wars crossovers very much. Like people are like, "Oh, Disney owns both Marvel and Star Wars. They should do a crossover."
This one could make sense, though.
I would welcome Ellen Ripley showing up in Star Wars. That would rule.
Yeah, like
I would also welcome if next time we see the Galactic Senate, I would welcome a little pod of just xenomorphs. That would be hilarious.
No, they're not talking at all. They're just pacing around.
Yeah, they're just
circles.
attacking the pods next to them.
Jumping to the next pods. Yeah.
It would be funny if they were actually paying attention, like banging
Studious.
a gavel or something. Yeah. That would also be funny. I'll take it any way I can get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm torn. Sigourney Weaver in anything. And I think it's the same function I have on a lot of things recently of like, I don't know why they're making this movie, so I can't get excited for someone being cast in the movie type thing. Like, if we had any clue about what or where or whether I should be excited about the movie, maybe I'd be more excited about the casting. Now, that said, Sigourney Weaver in anything is I'm excited about. Like, if you'd have said Sigourney Weaver is going to be in Star Wars, that immediately makes me think this is going to be good.
It's going to be good. Exactly.
So,
She's great.
Yeah. I don't know. Your thoughts, which seem much more glowing than mine?
I just, like, similar to you, I think Sigourney Weaver is a great actor. I think she can do a lot of different stuff, and I'm excited to see her in a Star Wars. I will be excited to see who she is playing, who or what she is playing, and what kind of role. Because, like I said, I'm sure that she's not playing a character that we've heard of or know. Seemingly, if you're going to cast a big actor like Sigourney Weaver, I feel like it's going to be for an original character. I guess I really don't know that I agree with what I just said.
Well,
but it seems likely that she would be a new character, and she wouldn't be playing. I can't even see it because I can't even think of an example of a character that she could play that already exists that we haven't seen in live action or whatever. You might be able to if you're reading the comics and the books and stuff, but
I'm trying to run through my brain of like, if it's, I wonder if she could be cast as a bad guy.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if you think she's going to be a good guy or a bad guy. I think she could be both. Easily could be both.
Yeah.
Or sorry, she could be either one. She's not going to be both. She'll be one or the other.
She's a good guy and a bad guy, same time.
Yeah. I mean, she could be like an older bounty hunter or whatever, someone that knows Din from the work or whatever. You know, she could be someone that worked with Aura Singh, or, you know, who knows?
Right.
She could be human, or she could be an Ellen Ripley type character. I don't care.
I mean, my brain went to like, you know, maybe an Imperial Admiral or something that was tracking down Gideon or something like that, or working with Gideon.
I think she would be a really intimidating Imperial officer.
Like maybe ISB, like Imperial Security.
For sure, yes.
Yeah. Like I think she could pull that off quite. Like she's got that. I don't want to say she's got that hard persona that she can turn on that
absolutely
is like
just recently rewatching Andor. She could definitely be like Deidre Mira's boss.
Oh yeah.
Or something. Yeah, like she could be one of those characters for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Like the character, have you ever seen Cabin in the Woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the director at the end of Cabin in the Woods. Like that's like a, you know, it's a villain role, but he's kind of coming at it with like a friendly face, kind of, you know?
Yeah. But there's still that edge and
yeah. She can do a lot of different stuff. And I don't know. I guess I'm more excited than I am skeptical or trepidatious about it.
Right.
So,
I'm with you there.
Yeah, I'll take Sigourney Weaver in anything.
Mm-hmm.
But moving on to some comics. You got a comics review? I believe you do.
I believe we have the same comic to review this week.
I believe we do. And this is outside my ballpark.
Same.
Quite a bit. From IDW and Boom Studios, a combo, we are reviewing the first issue of Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Right, folks. Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 2. There's a 2 next to it. So they fought before, I assume? I just noticed that 2 right now for the first time.
Same here.
Yeah.
No, apparently.
So yeah, I guess it's a re-teaming, a re-versus.
Yeah, and
So
I'm curious on the creative team. This one, I don't know about 1, but 2 is a story by Cullen Bunn, art by Baldemar Rivas, colors by Andrew Dalhouse, and letters and signed by Joanna Natalie.
Yeah. Steve, what did you think of this book?
I don't know, Mike.
Yeah, same. I'm
We're definitely not the target demographic for it.
I am so not a Power Rangers guy
I've realized that after reading this.
that yeah, I wasn't like relating to it, you know? I am a Godzilla guy.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily think there was enough of Godzilla in this book. There's a lot of Power Ranger.
You know, maybe
not a lot of
that's
Godzilla.
issue too.
Yeah, maybe. But I couldn't help compare it. I don't think this is out of line. I couldn't help compare it to the recently released Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, which I thought was handled a lot better than this.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a Power Rangers guy, but they spent a lot of time in this issue explaining where Godzilla was coming from and why.
Mm-hmm.
And
explaining where the White Ranger was
Power
coming from
Ranger,
and why?
Yeah, again, I'm not a Power Rangers guy. Apparently the White Ranger is in a different universe from the other Power Rangers and they don't ever work together. I didn't realize that. So he's battling monsters in a different universe and then all of a sudden gets attacked by Godzilla and then sucked through a portal, opens a multiverse portal accidentally and ends up in another world with the other Power Rangers who have never seen a white Power Ranger. But Godzilla also comes through and he has to keep fighting Godzilla, but he's not really fighting Godzilla.
Bad monsters, and
there's also other bad monsters that talk that are confusing to me.
So it's funny because like I can remember as a kid, because I'm a year younger than you, maybe a year and a half-ish.
Year or two,
and I can remember watching the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers a couple of times after school because that's all that was on. When you're in Boonville, there's only so many options. It was that or CNN, and I don't think I was watching that. But there were some story beats that I remembered, like what the visual was when they were morphing, and the like Zordon and Rita Repulsa, and like the main big beats I got, and then the rest of it kind of fell through somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen enough Power Rangers stuff to know like Rita Repulsa and Zordon and stuff like that. Like the Zords and stuff. Like I know all that.
And like every once in a while reading it, I was just like, oh yeah, I remembered that. I still don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it just seemed like too complex. I feel like
it seemed like too complex, but also the writing seemed very dumbed down. Like the actual dialogue. Yeah. It was almost like cliff notes of things.
Yeah. I felt like they were trying to squeeze the entire premise into the first issue. Whereas like comparatively to Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong, they spent some time doing some character stuff up front and then kind of ended with Godzilla attacking. They like teased it at the beginning and then ended with Superman going out to fight Godzilla. Like King Kong's not in the first issue. Like they didn't like do everything.
You're right.
And I think they do eventually mention that Godzilla is showing up through like some kind of multiverse thing, but it wasn't crammed all into the first issue in a way that was like, you're getting in the way of the story. Like I want to see, like if I'm picking this up, again, I'm not a Power Rangers guy. So maybe Power Rangers fans are looking for lots of expository dialogue and ways to set up a situation. I'm looking for, I want to see Superman punching a giant lizard in the face or whatever. If I'm picking this up, I was like, I want to see a team of Power Rangers going after a giant lizard. That's what I want to see if I'm picking up this book. And I got a lot of other stuff that it was hard for me to follow.
Yeah.
So that's how I felt about this book. Now, if you are a Power Rangers fan, you might be enraged about what I'm saying and saying he doesn't get it. And you know what? If you're saying that at me right now, you're 100% right. I don't get it. I just don't. So keep saying it, but also go out and buy this book. And then you let us know if you liked it. If you're a Power Rangers fan,
Yeah.
and you're excited about this book and you want to tell us why it's great and explain to us what we're missing, please do. I would love to hear it. Because I didn't hate the writing. I thought the writing was rushed, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was good.
Mhm.
I also thought the art was great. You know, it looks great.
Yeah, it does.
In general. So all that withstanding, it's not really for me. If
Same.
it's for you, let us know why it's great, please.
Yeah.
Let us know at the Multiverse Report at gmail.com. But that is our review of issue 1 of Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it was.
I'm also going to say real quick before I throw to you and your 1,000 comics. I read another great comic this week called Boy Wonder by Uni Ba and Chris O'Halloran. It was great. Nice. I liked it quite a bit. If you are someone that is a fan of the Bat family, the Robins, if you will, this book is for you. It's about Damian, and it's kind of like, so far, it seemingly is a quick retelling of his origin and his journey towards finding himself a place within the Bat family, comparing him to, like, him seeing, realizing, okay, I was raised by assassins. My father, Batman, doesn't work this way. So I need to adjust to his rules, but also starting to compare himself to Dick Grayson as Nightwing, Jason Todd as Red Hood, Tim Drake as Robin, Barbara as Batgirl. Like, okay, how do I fit into this family? Learning from them,
right,
and learning the ways to become Robin. It's really, really good. So I'm currently trying to decide if I want to add this to my poll or make sure that I order the trade when it is collected. I'm not sure if this is an ongoing or if it's a mini series, but like I said, if you're into Robin or Damian or Bat family in general, Boy Wonder, book 1 just came out this past week. Pick it up.
Nice.
So Steve, how's you doing on your 1,000 comics goal? What did you read this week? What are you up to?
I'm about 3/4 of the way through House of M.
Right.
I am falling behind. I'm probably like 40 behind the pace of where I need to be. But
it's catch-upable.
It is.
Catch-upable.
We're still in the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I similarly wanted to highlight TMNT Black, White, and Green.
Oh, nice.
Anthology series that they're doing 3 issues of on the Turtles for their anniversary. I believe is the 40th.
Yeah,
that tracks. Yeah, because they came out the year I was born, so that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we're old, Mike.
Sure are. Here we are.
So, yeah. Anthology series. Each of the stories looking at a little bit different take on the Turtles. Very unique, very fun. Kind of not the stories weren't fun, but a fun read.
Yeah.
Overall, like if you like any of that, black, white, and red style, it's kind of written in that vein. Not in the bloody vein of the black, white, and red, but very artwork is very well used highlights, and each of the stories has their own unique. The 4th story is very almost cartoony.
Right. Yeah. Very unique look. Yeah. That's what I like about those black, white, and blood, or black, white, and red, black, white, and blue, black, white, and gold, whatever the colors they've done. Because it's just a mini anthology, and the stories are always really good.
Yeah.
Speaking of anthologies, I picked up. There's a Target exclusive collector's edition of the Batman story that Tom King and Mitch Gerads did for the Batman Brave and the Bold series that DC is putting out. And Brave and the Bold itself is an anthology book similar to like a Black, White, and Red or whatever, but like 3 stories per issue. But there's like some ongoings, like there's part 1, then you get the next one for part 2. And Tom King and Mitch Gerads did this year 1 Batman story, kind of like a retelling of Batman's first encounter with the Joker. And so there's this really gorgeous hardcover Target exclusive collection of just that story that they did across the Batman Brave and the Bold books. I read about half of it last night. It's really, really, really great.
I was gonna say, you had me when you said Tom King and Mitch Gerrits, right?
Yeah. It's really, really good. It's really good.
And
So
did
if you
you
can
just
find
get
it-
it at our Target?
Yes, I did. Yep, exactly. Right down the street. So
I hate you.
yeah. Well, they probably still have them
I-
there.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is I did not need to throw another book on the shelf.
Yeah. No, I know. It's very good. You can just borrow mine. Borrow
All right.
mine if you want. Yeah, it's good and it's dark and scary. So anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but
Oh, actually, now that we're talking that, did you snag any solid pulls on Free Comic Book Day during the crazy sale that they had?
other than the free comics, I actually know because it was so mobbed. I went
Yeah.
early in the morning, which was a mistake. But
Yeah, you were there
it was
right at
so-
open.
yeah, I stood in line outside.
I was
it
driving
was-
back from Little League pictures, so it was fine.
Yeah, I should have gone later. It was so crowded. So I just grabbed a couple free ones, Star Wars one of the Marvel, and I can't remember what else. But
I didn't tell you about this. The
What?
the Marvel Blood Hunt #1 Free Comic
Yeah.
Book Day. The back half of that. So a lot of the Marvel ones were split in two.
you mean this?
Yes. Did you read Simone's Uncanny?
I haven't read it at all.
So
No.
the back half of that is the first of Simone's Uncanny, like
Ooh,
first
nice.
preview of it.
Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah, look at that.
I mean, we knew we were going to be in, but like,
Yeah,
it just felt right.
awesome.
So,
Yeah, I'll definitely read it for sure.
mhm.
I picked up a back issue of it's a Swamp Thing book, an Alan Moore Swamp Thing book. It's Swamp Thing or Swamp Thing meets Batman for the
Nice.
first time, and it's been at Funky Town for a while. I keep looking at it, but it was 50% off.
Right.
So picked it
That
up.
was me with I grabbed Star Wars Legacy 0 and 1.
Oh, nice.
Which were same deal, half off. I was
Yeah.
like, yep, okay, I'll do that for
Dope.
half off.
Cool.
So,
All right. This week in your local comic book store, you might find the following books: Action Comics number 1065, Alien Black, White, and Blood number 4. Definitely picking that one up. Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt number 1, Batman and Robin number 9, Blue Beetle number 9, Carnage number 7, Doom number 1, Gargoyles Quest number 2, Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 2. Check it out if you loved our endorsement of it. Green Lantern number 11, Gun Honey Collision Course number 1, Ice Cream Man number 39, Looney Tunes number 278, Miles Morales Spider-Man number 20, Ms. Marvel Mutant Menace number 3, My Little Pony the Ken Bucky Roller Derby number 4, Outsiders number 7, Red Hood and the Hill number 4, Sinister Sons number 4, Spawn number 353, Star Wars Mace Windu number 4, Ultimate X-Men number 3, Venom Separation Anxiety number 1, Weapon X-Men number 4, X-Men Forever number 4. Well, lots of number 4s tonight. Steve,
Mhm.
what you picking up? What you reading?
Ultimate X, I'm very curious about whether I think towards the end of number 2, they were hinting towards. Right now, it's been very armor focused and like 2 issues almost
you mentioned
exclusively
that.
about her.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's starting to canter towards the team. So
Okay.
I'll be curious where that starts to pick up steam. Beyond that, I mean, I'll grab X-Men Forever because, I'm in Pokemon mode with this Fall of X. Doom,
catch 'em
I'm
all.
curious about. Is that Doctor Doom? Or is that the
Steve, I have no idea.
Is that the 1990s Doom video game?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. I didn't look it up. I was just reading off a list and I was like, that could be either one of those things, but I'll put it on there. So I'm not sure.
I weirdly, back in the day, they made novels based on that video game.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I read at least 2 of them. And I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah, wild. Wild. Did you know that Doom is I feel like I heard a story once where they wanted to make an Evil Dead game, but they couldn't, so they made Doom instead.
Mhm.
That's why like Duke Nukem is like basically Bruce Campbell. Like
Huh.
just making like wisecracks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
or it's like either they wanted to and couldn't, or it's just a blatant ripoff.
Right.
Of like
or
that
they just
style.
were like, we need to
Shooting
make
monsters
this
in the
type
face
thing.
with a shotgun. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'll definitely get an Alien, Black, White, and Blood. But I don't know. I don't think I'm pulling anything else from this list. I still have some built up over the last couple weeks that I haven't read yet, so I got to dig into my own.
The Blood Hunt
collection.
and Separation Anxiety don't really do much for me.
Yeah.
Gun Honey Collision Course, just cool name.
Cool name. I
always love those when you drop them like that, and the My Little Pony Kentucky Roller Derby.
Yeah, I know. Comics are for everyone, people. Everyone. There's a comic out there for everybody.
I just like that you have to read Kentucky Roller Derby.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I think Gun Honey is something that I've heard before with a different subtitle.
Yeah.
But because I recognized that, but then Collision Course seemed like a new thing. So,
like those four words, I understand.
Yeah, they're cool.
When
words.
you combine
Gun Honey
them,
is a cool name.
When you combine them in that order, I'm very confused.
Exactly, and intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing for tonight is one shot. Another casting thing. You may. This is another thing I feel like that was announced a long time ago. A Blade Runner series, Blade Runner 2099, was announced to Amazon Prime years ago. Has cast Michelle Yeoh as one of the series leads. The series will serve as a sequel. Sorry, I almost said prequel, but a sequel to both the original film and the, in my opinion, masterpiece that is Blade Runner 2049. It's already currently filming in Prague.
So
Michelle Yeoh.
After, Michelle Yeoh has become everyone's darling, even more so than she already was.
Yeah.
But like when the top 5 in your, when you Google Michelle Yeoh, the first 5 things that come up: Everything Everywhere All at Once, of course, Crazy Rich Asians, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, of course.
Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that movie.
Tomorrow Never Dies, and Shang-Chi.
I definitely forgot that she was in Tomorrow Never Dies, a movie that I've seen. But wow. Yeah, no idea.
Yeah.
I knew Crouching Tiger would be in there for sure.
Oh, 100%. But that seems like a list you'd put up against anybody.
Yeah, right?
Like that top 6 is pretty strong.
Pretty strong credentials. And now she's going to be in a Blade Runner TV series. I'm in. I mean, not a guarantee, but we'll see.
I'm at least giving it a shot.
Yeah. So we can sign off real quick, and it's getting late, so I don't want to spend too long talking about X-Men 97, but we definitely should talk spoiler territory real quick. So let's do a quick sign off, and then we'll do a quick, maybe 5-10 minutes on X-Men 97 spoilers.
Absolutely. Yeah. If anyone wants, hang on after Mike's wonderful toasty sign off.
Oh, no, I'm saving the sign off for the very end.
Okay. Well, in that case, if you have not watched X-Men 97 or don't want to be spoiled on it, this is your friendly neighborhood spoiler warning for X-Men 97. Moving forward, we will be discussing any and all things related to the X-Men and or that show and whatnot. Before we leave, though, check out themultiverseport.com, the Multiverse Report on all the socials. themultiverseport@gmail.com. Leave us a review. Patreon, Mike mentioned earlier in the show, patreon.com/themultiverse report. If you can't tell, most things are the Multiverse Report. If you Google it, you'll find us.
Yes.
Yeah, leave us a review. It helps us out. It helps you out. It helps us help you out. And interact with us. Come on, hang out with Brian in the chat on Sunday nights, and we'll be here.
Yeah. Find us on socials at the Multiverse Report, Instagram and Threads mostly. And that's it. So we're going to start talking about X-Men 97 in 3, 2, 1. Eve! My God! Asteroid M!
Yeah, we're...
Asteroid M!
And Fatal Attractions also?
Yeah. Yes.
Just going backwards, the last shot is shot for shot Magneto pulling the adamantium off of Wolverine's skull.
Adamantium out of Wolverine's bones. I was flipping the fuck out when that happened.
Yeah.
Because it was similar. I should have known. I should have thought about it. I didn't think about it at all. I didn't see it coming at all. But like we talked about it last time we talked about the Genosha thing.
Mhm.
I made a point of like, oh, other shows would be like, this is what Genosha is. Get to know it, get to love it, now destroy it. This show is like, here's the thing. What's this thing known for? This. We're gonna do it right now in front of you. Like, so it's like, here's Genosha. What's Genosha known for? Getting destroyed. We're gonna do it right now.
You want to do
Asteroid
that?
M.
Okay, cool.
What's Asteroid M for? That's where Wolverine got the metal pulled out of his bones. We're gonna do it right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Game.
Because I was still reeling from Wolverine stabbing Magneto.
Yeah.
Through the chest. So that alone, I was like, oh my god,
Oh.
what a way to end an episode. And then that's not the end of the episode. He retaliates.
I had that moment when like you see the tips of the claws on the other side of Magneto, and I was just like, holy show, this isn't gonna go well.
Yeah.
Like
I thought that was gonna be the end. I thought the end.
You thought that was
gonna
gonna fade out.
episode.
I was like, oh, I feel like this is just not gonna. No, they're gonna do it.
Man.
And they did it.
Oh man, it was great.
Yep.
Oh,
I
man,
wasn't
it was
sure
great.
what they were gonna do at that point, but I knew it wasn't gonna end. I knew it wasn't going to end well for Logan.
Well, I thought it was because he says early in the episode, he says we should kill him. Or he doesn't say it like outright, but he like makes some kind of reference to like, this is what we should be doing with Magneto. And then he's not around. Like they switch the focus to other characters. So you forget that he's there. And while Magneto's preoccupied, he sneaks up behind him and stabs. That alone is like, whoa, what a great ending. Like now Magneto's going to die. And we didn't see it coming because the twist of Wolverine being there. And he has to sneak up. Otherwise, he's helpless against Magneto, which then you see because he just tears the metal out of his bones. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And I totally understood Rogue going with Magneto.
They did that very well. Yep.
They did that
Same
incredibly
thing with
well. I was
Roberto.
like, yeah, of course. Of course. They spent 2 episodes showing the fallout, how Rogue fell out from Genosha. And yeah, of course, she's going to be disillusioned with the X-Men and she's going to go with Magneto. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Right.
Perfect sense. And then Sunspot as well.
Yeah.
Sure, betrayed by his mom. Yeah, go. Makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Total sense. It wasn't out of nowhere change or anything like that. Like, it was written so well.
Did you have Morph Smash on your bingo card?
No, that was great. That was great.
So
That was
I
really
think
good.
I was trying to figure the morph thing out, and I'm like, in my brain, all I can think of is I guess maybe when he shapeshifts can handle any physical style.
Yes, that's what I read as well. I haven't even thought about it.
Yeah.
But I saw somebody on social media ask that exact question.
So the Quicksilver one is what threw me off because I was like, he had the Quicksilver speed, and then I'm like,
yeah.
But if that
I
was the
think
case, he couldn't just steal
he
powers.
Adapts physical
Yeah.
abilities, but not like metaphysical or magical abilities. So if he's the Hulk, he's super strong.
But if he's
Quicksilver,
Jean,
he's super
he's not
fast.
going
But
to be
if he's
telekinetic.
exactly, if he's Professor X, he's not controlling you with his mind or anything like that. Yeah. So I mean, it's a thin line for sure, but they're walking it, and they're walking it well.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what the finale has in store for us.
it's only one more episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Man.
like at this point, because this was the thing. I remember reading on Twitter, Bo DeMaio after episode 5, when everybody was freaking out after episode 5.
Yeah.
Because that was amazing.
Yeah.
He was like, in other parlance, the Samuel L. Jackson, hold on to your butts. Because he's like, episodes 8 through 10 are the culmination.
Yeah. And they have
And I was like, oh, there's no way they could top what they just, holy shit.
Yeah. So good. I can't wait. I can't wait for the finale. Incredible. So yeah, again, if you're not watching and you listen to this anyway, you made a mistake because we just spoiled a lot of stuff.
2, you're really confused.
You're very confused. You don't know what we're talking about, but you should definitely be watching this. So X-Men. I mean, the people that do watch it and are listening to this, tell your friends. Make more people watch this
Yes.
show. It deserves it. It deserves it. So good.
Oh,
So
so are they going bone claws or no?
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
I mean, I would assume we probably don't see Logan wake up even next episode.
I feel like either he doesn't wake up, or it ends with him being like, I gotta go off on my own and figure myself out or whatever. But
Right.
you're right. We may not see the bone claws because in the comics, at least, that was a separate reveal a while after that, I think.
Yeah.
So, but this show moves fast. This show moves really fast.
I mean, they
who knows?
They condense the entire, Goblin Queen arc into
20
nothing.
minutes, 22 minutes. Yeah. So,
and did it well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it either ends, either he's in a coma the whole time, or it ends with him going off alone, or it ends with a stinger of bone claws. What?
Yeah.
Credits. That's my guess. Or at least his arc would end that way.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, X-Men 97, folks.
Do it.
So good. So good. That's all I got. That's all you got?
I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, we already did the other stuff. So, as the two suns set over the burnt bodies of Owen and Bru Lars, we say thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.